still under investigation. Spokesperson Robert Mlaudzi is urging residents to use heating devices with caution in light of a drop in temperatures across the city.
Make sure that those heating devices are not left unattended so that we can be able to prevent fire incidents which might occur at home. For any life-threatening emergencies, our residents are encouraged to call our Emergency Management Services Command and Control Center on 011-375-5911.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says a concerted effort to address the water crisis is underway, similar to the manner in which government responded to the energy crisis. Ramaphosa is today meeting all municipal managers and premiers at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg with a major focus on tackling water shortages. The president recently established the National Water Crisis Committee to coordinate efforts to end the growing scourge of dry taps. Ramaphosa says the committee has warned municipalities that they must begin by appointing qualified officials to lead their water departments.
Municipal water and sanitation systems require qualified people, as in technicians, as in engineers, plant operators, project managers, and also financial experts. Without the right people in the right posts, even the best plans will remain unimplemented.
The Motor Industry Staff Association says increasing fuel costs should not be used as an excuse for mass retrenchments. The trade union is calling for the private sector to commit to a moratorium on retrenchments. MISA is disappointed about the exclusion of illuminating paraffin from the general fuel levy cut extended to June. It says millions of South Africans who rely on paraffin for lighting, cooking and heating face unbearable costs of fuel as winter approaches. Spokesperson Pagamile Hlubi Majola.
Protecting workers and households must be the cornerstone of South Africa's response to global instability. Rising fuel costs cannot be used as an excuse to shed jobs.
And oil prices have surged more than 7% to a 4-year high, rising above $126 a barrel amid escalating tensions between the United States and Iran. The spike follows warnings from U.S. President Donald Trump that a U.S. blockade of Iranian ports could last for months, alongside reports he's being briefed on possible new military strikes. Tehran has submitted a proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. However, Washington reportedly doubts Iran's willingness to negotiate in good faith. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump has instructed national security officials to prepare for a prolonged blockade aimed at forcing Iran to abandon its nuclear program. U.S. officials say efforts are also underway to limit the impact on global oil markets and American consumers if the blockade continues. In your financials, gold is trading at $4,637.25 an ounce. The rand is 16.77 to the dollar, 22.67 to the pound, and 19.63 to the euro. Brent crude oil is $116.57 a barrel.
In the traffic in Edenvale, traffic remains slow on the N3 North. This is between Linksfield Road and Moerfontein Road, and also on the N3 North. A bit further down between the Geldenhuys Interchange and Kululi's Interchange, traffic remains slow there due to roadworks.
Gauteng's cloudy with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures peaked at highs of between 18 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: a crime intelligence police officer has been killed in KwaZulu-Natal while another sustained injuries.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD.
7:02
Walk the Talk. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
5 minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. I am back. Thank you so much, Khomotso Modise, for holding it down while I was trying to figure myself out. So the update is there are no fractures or broken bones. I did get a bit more ANA than I thought I was. Hence, I had to just take some time to have an elevated leg. But thank you so much for all of the awesome messages that you sent through. Coming up on the show for today, I want to find out from all of you. Are you a guest or a person who likes to arrive early for appointments? Are you a person who, if they say lunch starts at 1, you get to their house at 11? And if you are that person, why do you do that? Then the people on the other side, how do you feel when people arrive early for, I don't know, a party you're hosting, a visit at your house, an appointment, and the kind of anxiety that can come with? I have to be honest, there's certain situations where I'm like, can you wait in your car, actually? And I know it sounds a little bit rude, but I want to hear from you on that whole thing of arriving early and what you're supposed to do with the whole situation. Belief Matters feature. We're talking about higher education and cultural tradition. Are they able to coexist, or do they inevitably pull young people in different directions? We're joined by Dr. Tebe Ekalafeng, Chancellor of Salt Lake University in Kimberley, for that conversation. Then we wrap up with Wendy Nola, as we do on a Thursday in our consumer rights feature, Nola Knows. And yes, it is the last day of the month, so I'm looking forward to that one. We're going to talk about South Africans that are affected by flight cancellations due to the conflict in the Middle East, and we'll also open up the lines to all of your consumer rights issues. So get in touch with us, 011 883 0702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
What do you do with people who arrive early? What do you do with them? If they are meant to be coming to your house, if they are meeting with you somewhere, how do you deal with those situations of people arriving early? Now, a young gent had his father that was due to come visit to spend time with the grandkids. And they told him to come at 2, right? So knowing that at 2 o'clock, people are going to be coming through to the house, meaning that's when you are prepared for people to be there. But in the case of this specific situation, the father arrives at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you see the son busy asking him, Dad, why did you come early? And he's like, well, I needed to see my grandkids. He was just way too excited. And for him, young people basically are not really on time. He wanted to be early. But what that meant is he's at the house between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. And yes, it was said very tongue-in-cheek, but so many people were just dealing with the situation of guests coming early gives them anxiety. I mean, I've found myself in situations where, let's say I have an appointment at 1 p.m. and it's at a coffee shop. Then I see a message at 12:15 that says, I'm sitting at the back corner by the window. How? And I know they're not saying I need to be there now early as well, but something in me feels like, okay, so now I feel pressure that I need to rush. Why are you there early? Please, can we have this conversation? And then what do you do if you are a person who's like, I would like to get there early but don't want to impose? What do you do when you arrive early? So I will sometimes sit in the car, use that opportunity to catch up on a phone call, do some work. I will wait before I go in. And this has happened, be it like a voiceover recording, where even though there's a waiting area, I don't know, I just kind of feel like I'm imposing by being in a space too early. But let me know your thoughts on that. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Spinners on Get Prize Drops gives you the chance to win a share of an epic 2.5 million rand in cash and tech gadgets. Enjoy a spinning spectacular and unwrap exciting wonders where fortunes fall from the sky and you could claim amazing prizes with every round. Simply bet 2 rand or more on selected pragmatic play slots Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays and enjoy sweet success. Hollywood Bets. It's more fun to spin with us. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Mzansi Ballet proudly presents Heal the World, an inspiring new ballet set to the iconic music of global legend Michael Jackson. Choreographed by South African prima ballerina and award-winning choreographer Angela Revi, in collaboration with renowned Mexican guest dancer and choreographer George Wade, this powerful production celebrates dance as a force for connection, healing, and transformation. It tells a deeply human and emotionally charged story of resilience and self-discovery. Heal the World runs from the 13th of May to the 7th of June at the Peter Torine Theatre at Monte Cassino. Get your tickets now through Web Tickets.
Insurance pulls you in. Pineapple pulls you under. Insurance. Pineapple. Insurance. Pineapple.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 13 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
702 was in conversation with pharmaceutical company Sanofi to find out more about respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, and how you can protect our babies and children.
I think it's just a good reminder about the disease. It's a cold-like disease. It does affect really young babies, so newborns. So I think it's for expectant moms and also parents of really young infants to become aware of the disease and to know that there are ways to protect and prevent the disease in their really small children. So 1 in 3 lung infections in infants are caused by RSV, right? So I would encourage expectant moms and also parents of young children to speak to their pediatricians, speak to their healthcare providers on ways to prevent the disease.
Visit primemediaplus.com to hear the full interview. 702 in conversation with Sanofi. Together against RSV.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
14 minutes after 1 o'clock, let's talk about those of you that arrive early, and maybe you can share the circumstances as to how you became an early bird. I do recall a time where I was driving from Montana to Sandton to do a radio show and drive back. Luckily, it was in the early hours, but in my mind, I'm like, just in case, make sure you give yourself room, get there a bit early, blah, blah, blah. That's always what I would say to myself. And I also get it. There's some people who would rather skip the traffic, be somewhere super early, than sit in traffic, possibly risk being late and then being frustrated. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Savannah on Facebook says, fear of being late. I'm always early and it's something I'm really proud of. It shows I'm responsible and I care about other people's time. Joni says, too early is also not good. It shouldn't be more than 10 minutes before and not more than 5 minutes after, as in being late. Anything else is inconsiderate. So, Joni Ori, quarter 2 is inconsiderate. as well. It should be 10 minutes before, not more than 5 minutes after. Okay. Kamagelo says, just to elaborate, people who come early at gatherings usually are there to help the host with preparations, or it could be because of transport constraints. At a meeting, it would probably be because they want time to finalize their preparations. Thank you for sharing that, Kamagelo. And I think what you've shared, those are all quite valid in terms of why people do that. My thing is, what do we do? What do we do with the people? When they, let's say they are not people that are there to help. They've arrived early, ne? And now you realize, I haven't washed. This person is 2 hours early. And now that they're sitting there, you have to now be offering them things, kaditogo, with, what do you call it, sand in your eyes from the Sandman. So what do you do with the people? And it's something I never thought much about until I saw that story. I was like, actually, sometimes people who arrive really early, of which I'm sometimes those people, can give a bit of anxiety. Here are some of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Auslebo. I do private shuttles. Sometimes I'm an Uber driver. If a client says I need to leave at 6 o'clock, I normally arrive at 5:30. I'm there 30 minutes early so that I don't have to send you a message stuck in traffic or something came up. I'm there early. That way we know we're going to leave at 6 o'clock because you asked for 6 o'clock. It's just a planning thing to make sure that you are there early for your meeting.
Hello, Lebu. Mpumelelo here. I'm those guys that arrive super early. I remember we were invited to a gig at a club by this friend and colleague of mine because he was playing at that club. It's like now at 8. So myself and my brother, there we are, these two Catholic boys arriving at the club at 5 to 8. And we're the only two people in the club who came there to dance. We had to wait for everybody else, and the party only started at like 11. So, yeah.
Guys, what happened to being fashionably late? Like, I'm trying to actually think of the circumstances. Arriving early is, to certain places makes complete sense, especially if the sign-in procedure is a mission. Office park, scanning driver's license, here complete the form, biometric, now you must still go again to reception, please wait. That makes sense. At the house, though, what are we doing with you when you come to my house early and I'm trying to bath? Now I must be a host. And then obviously people will see that you're still busy and be like, where can I help? Sometimes there's no way to help. Or else, you're going to mess it up. Here's some of your WhatsApp messages. Hi, Relebogile. I am quite punctual, but I can't be too early because I'm impatient with waiting for too long. It gets very awkward for me. Another one says, I am always early because it is rude to be late. And yes, we do have individuals that are chronic late arrivers. I think we've spoken about it before. Roz says, I prefer to be on time, not arriving early to get under people's feet. My partner is annoying. He shows up late for everything, sometimes 3 hours late, or he bails and won't even apologize. I have just stopped inviting him along. I go solo. That is disrespectful because not even Uncle Ram's number one is that delayed. I didn't know we call him Uncle Rams. Is that a new term, Abel? Guys, if you didn't know who Uncle Rams is, number one citizen in South Africa, I have never heard of Uncle Rams. I know of Uncle Mamposa. I don't know of Uncle Rams. Hear more of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. My name is Ntsiki. So I am that person who will arrive early not that early, but I like to be comfortable in terms of where I sit. I'm short-sighted as a person with albinism, so I take that into consideration wherever I go, that I need to be able to be comfortable where I sit. But I would not make you uncomfortable by arriving too early now.
Hi, Relebogile. This is Bonnie. If they come early, they are helping me prepare the lunch. Make the green salad, cut the onion there, grate the tomato. I'm giving you work to do. Thank you.
Hi, Lebogile. Glad to hear you good. Okay, for anyone out there, first of all, arriving on time is a fine skill. If you get there before the time, you can wait in your car. Number one, your host is still preparing the space. Your host may be running around getting the last minute things arranged, and now you arrive there and you are imposing on your host. So if you want to get there early, park around the corner, and then at 5 minutes to the appointed time, you can make your way to the front of the gate. Otherwise, stay away. People have got busy lives, they are preparing, and you can't just impose on people. You can be glad you're getting an invite in the first place.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. This is Selma from Roodepoort. I have a cousin that's like that. She insists on coming early. And the more you tell her, look, I don't want you here at 10 o'clock when we're only leaving at 12 to get to somebody at 1, then she insists that she has to be there early. And the more I say no, or she'll decide out of the blue she wants to come and visit. And she'll just send me a little message. She doesn't wait for me to read it. She'll say, oh, I'll be there in a quarter of an hour. Tell me if it's okay. But she doesn't wait for me to say if it's okay. She just turns up. And then if I don't open the gate immediately, she goes beep, 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 beep. Oh, you don't know how it irritates me. But anyway, so eventually I told her, look, don't do this. But she still ignored me. Honestly, some people, I give up. Thanks for a lovely show. Bye.
Is it not maybe that they have anxiety about arriving there late? They want to get there, they want to get settled. And maybe it's also the stage of life a person is in. Maybe at that stage of life where your life isn't that busy, like the gent who I was watching this video of, and we'll play the audio shortly. But maybe it's the stage of life. You're no longer in a busy. Maybe you're in retirement. And then you get an invite and you're excited. You're like, I have somewhere to be. Let me make sure I'm there early. And to the person on the voice note who said, if you come early, I'm making you chop onions. I support you. I support you. You must chop onions. You must quickly mop the floor. Do you know how much work hosting is? Now a person's there early. You haven't even set up the tea bag, the tea set. 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. Here are more of your messages from Facebook. One says, this is from Pritchard, I prefer to be early for mental preparation, catching unplanned moments, less stress and better logistics, prime positioning, and time to absorb the atmosphere and networking opportunities. Okay, I feel you there. I actually just had a thought about where it's a good idea to go early. If you're going to a big concert, one of the big concerts I went to was Beyonce's concert on the Run tour with Jay-Z 2 in Miami. You get there early because you want to be at the front of this, like by the part where you can smell the artist. That's where you get early. Make sure you find yourself people, a crew, order your drinks. At a concert, get there early. You see, that one I'm down for. But I'm also the same person who says, at a concert, leave early. When you know this feels like the last song, you must already start to leave. More of your voice notes on 072-702-1702.
Hey, about Hi, Relebogile. Myself, I'm addicted to being late. Lately, I'm late for everything. Everything, I'm late. So, for people who like to arrive early, most especially if you're meeting at the restaurant, that person can arrive as early as they want, as long as I'm not the one who's going to be taking care of the bill. Because of if somebody arrives an hour early before the meeting, obviously those people are going to add on the bill. So as long as I'm not covering the bill, it's fine. A person can arrive whatever time they want to arrive. But for myself, just know I'll arrive 10, 15 minutes late.
Hi Relebogile kunjani? Ukhuluma noRose ngapha ePitori. Hey mina dadethu isikhathi ngisihlonipha kakhulu. I respect time. I remember when I used to have appointments with my gyna, I will arrive there 30 minutes earlier. It made me so comfortable. Ngiyakuthanda ukufika early, isikhathi siyahlonitshwa.
Okay, the one about the doctor's room, I support you. Also because even if you have an appointment, the file will get taken out when they see you. So definitely arrive early for medical appointments. More of your messages. Michael says, good question. You get someone sitting in the lobby for an hour waiting for the meeting to begin. Another WhatsApp says, good afternoon. If I invite you for an event, I will not open the door until it's the correct time for you to come in. Yo, some of you lislech. So somebody's going to be sitting there burning in the sun or getting rained on. I mean, what if they came with public transport also? Vainan from Florida here. I have a lot of respect for people that arrive before the time. Another message says, Hi Relebogile. It depends on the situation. If I go to the airport or I'm going for an interview, I'm there at least 1 hour early. But going to parties, I'm not that strict. You've got your priorities in order. The airport one, you must be there early, guys. There is nothing worse than the feeling of running through an airport thinking you might miss your flight. It is the worst feeling. And then on top of that, if it is an airport which is an airport you're not familiar with in another country, where you need to take 2 trains maybe to get to your terminal, that is even 3 hours early if need be. It is very, very stressful traveling like that. More of your messages on Facebook. Neil says, you make it sound like arriving early is a problem. It's the most admired thing for me if someone arrives early. Mpumi says, I don't like to keep people waiting. I am very, very punctual like that. Johnny says, to avoid coming late or avoid traffic jams along the way, that is why I'm always early. I want you, though, to take a listen to this interaction between father and son. I made an error by saying he arrived at 9 a.m. for what was supposed to be a 2 p.m. appointment. It actually was 8 a.m. for a 1 p.m. appointment. But take a listen to @Canadian Kevin.
The people they want some answers for what happened today. The people want answers. What time did I tell you to be here at the house to meet me here?
1 o'clock.
What time did you get here?
About 9?
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8 a.m. All right, so tell me what was going on in your mind why you came 5 hours early.
Because I know where I'm coming from and what the condition of the road can be. So I didn't want to be here 1:30. So I make sure I get a head start.
Yeah.
And leave the traffic behind.
Yeah. So what was your plan when you got here and nobody was awake or anything?
I have a car and can sleep in.
Okay. So 5 hours early.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Appreciate you.
And that was good too.
Yeah.
I came back and all was well.
All right, thank you.
I had no inconvenience at all.
You can hear the family laughing in the back. Guys, 1 p.m. appointment. He arrived at 8 a.m. I personally think he was just excited to see the grandkids and see. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but him saying it's no inconvenience to anybody. We wrap up with your voice notes and messages. After the news, it's 1:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. We begin with news just in. The official date for this year's local government election has been set for the 4th of November. President Cyril Ramaphosa made the announcement at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg today. Although the date has been proclaimed, the Cooperative Governance Minister, Velenkosini Hlabisa, is expected to formally gazette it. A crime intelligence police officer has been killed in KwaZulu-Natal, while another sustained injuries. The pair was ambushed in the north of Durban. And the Zambian government and the family of former President Edgar Lungu have reached an agreement to have his remains moved to another mortuary, pending the finalization of an appeal in the Supreme Court. The Zambian government approached the Pretoria High Court this morning to challenge an order that was handed down last week, which instructed that Lungu's body be returned to a mortuary of the family's choice. Those are the headlines this EWN, more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Sorry, I tried not to be a little too early there. If you are any...
Ma'am, please.
Ma'am,
You are in the business of making sure people aren't late.
Okay, sorry, let me behave. Sorry.
There we go.
In the traffic at this hour, if you are traveling in Edenvale, please expect some delays on the R24 West. This is as you head towards the Kalulis interchange. And if you are heading towards Alex, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 North between Linksfield Road and Modderfontein Road. Over in Devland, traffic is sluggish on the Golden Highway between the N12 and the N1, and this is due to ongoing road works. Also, look out for faulty traffic lights in Melrose at the M1 North and Quallet, in Randpark Ridge at the N1 North and Beyers Naudé, as well as in Plegari at Jan Smuts and Republic. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's a home for dream creators, operators, and change makers. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Josie My Josie to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, Babize Bonke. On Sunday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be part of something special. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie, Babize Bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
It's that time of the year. Sore throats, congestion, wet and dry coughs, pain and fever. For trusted relief for you and your family, ask your pharmacist to recommend a winter survival pack from the Adcock Ingram OTC range. With products like Medikil A, Expigen, Corenza Parac, Adconapamol, Dilinct Junior, and more, we have you covered this winter. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
In the world of finance, manufacturing, and mining, automating business processes is a crucial factor in stimulating an organization's growth and bottom line. Zoe Projects and Consulting, a specialized process engineering and automation firm, offers comprehensive data and business systems analysis to optimize your company's processes, to save time, reduce costs, and better efficiency. Go to zoeprojects.co.za and get in touch with Zoe Projects and Consulting today.
Spend your afternoon
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
26 minutes to 2 o'clock. We're talking about people that arrive early for appointments. It can be guests, it can be for a meeting, and many of you have shared multiple reasons, but this comes from Kevin, a young man, young adult, who was questioning his father, saying, we're supposed to be meeting at 1 p.m., but you're here at 8 a.m. Please explain why. And it can be an inconvenience, and sometimes it's not. You're like, hey, grab an onion and start chopping now that you are here. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. Relebogile, when we hosted Braais with our in-laws, they would arrange to arrive at 11 a.m. It really irked me because we'd have to wake up early on a Saturday. Then I got clever and woke up at my usual Saturday time and left my husband to do most of the cleaning. And just before 11, I'd go to the shop for at least an hour, because who starts a braai at 11? Okay, I see the strategy. Hi, Relebogile, I'm very punctual in all my appointments and invitations, but I have a family that is always late with everything. So I've learned to get there 1 to 2, or you're trying to say half an hour later, and I will still have to wait. I think they were saying half an hour later. Hi, Relebogile. I dumped one lady for tardiness. If you cannot keep time, forget about me. How? Budi, you are so strict. You dumped this person because she couldn't keep time. Yo! Tabang, this is serious. Very serious. Hi, Relebogile. My pet hate is when you go to a concert and the main artist is running late. Then the artist eventually comes on and screams, "Are you there?" Now I'm angry and thinking to myself, do you think we paid money to play hide and seek with you? George in Cape Town, and they say something that I don't think I'm allowed to say on air. You are killing me. You are killing me. You know what makes it worse outside of "Are you there?" is then they don't sing any of their songs, right? The mic is to the audience. You now are performing for the artist. I arrive on time, but at my friends or family events, I arrive early or the day before, and it will be arranged as I know I'm expected to assist, drive, go buy a few things. My neighbor had a party on the 24th of December. She said I should arrive around 11 a.m. I was there at 11:05 a.m. She told me that I was early. I walked back to my house and went back Kawan. What do you even mean? I don't think I would have gone back. If you told me 11, I get there 5 past and you say I'm early. No, guys. No. Another WhatsApp says there is no addiction to being late. It's just a bad attitude. My mom is always early, but she is very impatient. And Michael says, I arrive early because it is good manners. And the remainder of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. You know those people who arrive early if they are invited, especially if I invite you to my house for supper, then we are there an hour earlier. I still need to clean. I still need to maybe finish up my cooking and whatever. They don't even sit down on the couch, maybe and watch TV or pour themselves a drink. They come and stand next to me. Now I'm panicking because now I'm trying to cook, I'm trying to clean. No. If you arrive early, please just wait in the car. It will be it's much more safer for everyone. Wait in the car and then leave your car when the time maybe is 5 minutes before the time you were invited in. Yeah, because you are putting us under pressure.
Hi, Lebo. I hate being late, especially if I'm going to work. If I leave at 25 to 7, I'm late. If I leave at 7:30, I'm late. If I leave 20 past, then the wife says, yeah, you just want to leave early. You don't want to be with me.
Now, why don't you want to be with your wife?
Hi, Relebs, or just MC. My wife and I were so punctual that there was a time a friend, his daughter, was getting married, and on the invite they say 8 o'clock, and we're there 7:45. Then 8 o'clock we move in, only to find out that only those guys were doing decoration. So we sat like for 45 minutes. When we called her, she said she was still in the salon, that the mother. You know what we did? Another 30 minutes, nobody comes. We just took the gift, wrote the name on top, and put it on top of the table they were decorating and left. We went home. Yeah.
Yo? Yeah, ne? Yeah. Thank you so much for all of your messages, your voice notes. I think the whole thing about whether it's late or early, be considerate and mindful.
The Clement Manyatela Show on 702.
The Clement Manyatela Show also takes on the field reporter format, and that's why we will be on the ground when there's a massive building collapse in the CBD or a big meeting in Washington, D.C. in the Oval Office between our president and the U.S. president, or at OR Tambo International Airport to receive our national sports teams with pride. We go where it matters for the benefit of our listener. A listener of the Clement Manyatela Show is a companion. That listener is aware, quite opinionated, smart, playful, but also can be serious when the moment requires. They care about accountability. They are helpful, quite generous, and always willing to step in to help other 702 family members when I ask them to. So in essence, that's a wholesome listener.
The Clement Manyatela Show. Weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
Everybody who lives in this incredibly diverse place knows that Joburg is more than just a city. It's a vibrant beat that runs through our veins and an unmistakable rhythm, connecting us all. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to call on you to walk the inner city with us in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babi Zebonke. On Sunday, the 26th of July, we're uniting in the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of movers, shakers, operators, and change makers. And this is your chance to walk with purpose and be part of something truly remarkable. So enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. Babi Zebonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. 702.
Belief matters.
Exploring culture, traditions, religion,
and the beliefs that shape our world.
18 minutes to 2 o'clock in our Belief Matters feature for today. We're talking about higher education and cultural tradition. Are they able to coexist, or do they inevitably pull young people in different directions? We'd love to hear from all of you. 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. We're joined by the Chancellor for Solplaiki University in Kimberley, Dr. Tebe Ekalafeng. Doctor, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Relebogile. And we almost is Workers' Day tomorrow, but you and I are going to be working the whole weekend.
Well, of
anyway,
course
right?
we are going to. It doesn't apply to us Workers' Day. It does not apply.
I don't know why they call it Workers' Day and nobody's working. I don't understand. So
all right.
Us who understand English will be working tomorrow.
Yes, we will be working tomorrow in honor of Workers' Day. So let's chat about, when we look at higher education, and I love to always start conversations with definitions so we're all clear what we're referring to. So when we say higher education, we're referring to?
Well, we're referring to anything post-matric. We're referring to whether it's a college or whether it is a university, whether it's to meet, that's all higher education. It's education beyond the basic.
Okay. And then when we look at cultural tradition, what specifically are we referring to?
To me, culture is how you do things. It's how you are raised. It's what shapes you. It's what defines you. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about whether you're a boy or a girl from raised Venda, the culture, how you were raised, how you were nurtured, and how you and what the village, if you will, are sent you out to be and to do, and what they expect from you. That's culture.
Okay, so now let's talk about them being in the same place and them coexisting. And let's start with higher education spaces. As it stands, what is allowed, in inverted commas, what is embraced in higher education when it comes to culture and tradition?
Well, let's look at my investiture as an example. So my investiture as a chancellor a few weeks ago at Solplaiki University. So what did I do in that space? So I was determined that it's going to be a different type of investiture. It's not going to be one that is heavily Eurocentric, but it's going to do what Du Bois talk about. W.B. Du Bois talk about double consciousness and awareness that I live in a place that has been heavily influenced by the West, but I'm also a person who comes from a black culture and a black history. So what are the things that I did at my investiture? We went to my grandmother's house as part of the investiture. I think I got most people to come to my grandmother's house because in our culture as Batoba and so as black people, we do what you call to go back to walk the journey that got you here. So we went there. We went to my high school, and then from my high school we went to the House of Solomon Blackie, whose name is the university's name, and then we walked all the way to the Great Hall. And entering the Great Hall, we had in addition to those traditional, you know, those music that they play when you when you graduate.
Yes.
But we also had an imbongi, because I'm Tswana.
Yes.
Ushering us into the hall. To me, that is how the two of them live the double consciousness and how the two of them should live in harmony without one looking like I'm diminishing the other or elevating the other.
I want to use the example of graduations, and I've seen how they are evolving to embrace more culture and tradition because we recognize the history that for many people that go up on the stage, they are the first in their family. They are the first, you know, or it took so much for them to get there. Can you chat to us a little bit about that intersection?
Well, I'll do two examples. One, I'm associated obviously with the University of Johannesburg, University of South Africa, University of South Blackie, very closely associated with all the universities. And when you go to a graduation at the University of Johannesburg and you listen to the choir and you see some people dancing and dropping on the floor and doing all those things at a graduation, and the kids coming and receiving before the chancellor taps their head, or after tapping their head, and they announce that they've been conferred, and they do the Zulu dance or on the velo or all those. To me, it's how the two work beautifully. You know, at my first graduations, which was 3 weeks ago, my first graduations as a chancellor at South Black University, a young vendor lady came to me, and before I could tap her on the head, she just fell on the ground. And you know, I think you're familiar with Amabenda, what they do. It's a sign of respect. And she fell on the ground to obey the ground from where she comes from, and then stood up for me to tap her head. So to me, it's how universities are allowing this. At any other point in time, we'd be looking at this and say, what's up with this one now? What's it doing that for? Or somebody singing, ululating, and doing all those things. That's what makes us who we are as Africans. And we should do what I talked about. We should embrace this double consciousness of universities are generally, South African universities are generally Eurocentric, but they are in a place but they are the home for a boy from Limpopo, a girl from Eastern Cape, somebody else from Northern Cape, from all those who come from their rural areas, for whom they've never ever been to the cities. The university is their first city. So when they come together, it's the coming together of the two cultures, and they need to feel embraced and welcome in that space.
I'm just thinking around, Doctor, the higher learning education system that we have at the moment. I mean, you've mentioned the descriptive words of Eurocentric more than once. And the thing that came to mind was the idea of decolonizing our education system. What would that look like? If we're saying, guys, we are Africans and we need to steer more towards what represents us, what would that look like in a higher education space? I know, for example, one of the topics has been people getting their degrees and PhDs in their home languages.
Yes, and indeed, to me, it's about so decolonization is a much broader subject, because I've just spoken to one little aspect right now, if you will, on the ceremonial part. But beyond the ceremonial part, before the ceremonial part, one then has to go to the syllabi and ask yourself the question, does the syllabus reflect African knowledge systems? does the syllabus reflect the fact that Tebe, who's a Motswana, can write in Setswana the same way that somebody from France can write their PhD in French and not be told you have to write it in English? Because I think it's Ngugi, was 77 or so, who said the person who speaks a foreign language better than their home language is enslaved. But the person who speaks their home language well and can also articulate themselves in a foreign language is empowered. So language is very, very important. And for that reason, there's somebody like Ngugi, for example, who decided that from, I think, 77 or so, to no longer write in English, but now to start writing. Remember, he was a professor of literature English in New York, but he decided from there already he's only going to write in his home language because he understands that our languages, our culture, have got the nuances that makes us, that in our expression, the languages have got nuances that you cannot really quite say in English. And that's why you see, I think, I saw two PhDs, one from UNISA and one from Northwest. They were all in Setswana. I think the first one was in UNISA, if I remember very well. It was all in Setswana. To me, part of decolonization is not just in the ceremonial part, but it is in the content, but it is also in the context of the university itself. That when I come to this place, does it reflect who I am? Do I feel at home? Do I find expression in the language, in the events, in the content, in the syllabus, in the buildings? Do I find that? Do the names of these colleges, do they speak like me? You know, when you graduate, friends of mine, like a few friends who graduated from Oxford and university, and when they graduated and I looked at them, they were so English. You know, the tunic, I forget what they call it, that they wear. It's so different, and the ceremony is so, everything is so English, if you will. I don't expect to see that in an African context. But you've seen a lot what's showing as well, in terms even from the texture, whether it's University of KwaZulu-Natal or whether it is University of South Africa. I think University of South Africa in 2004, we started this revolution when I rebranded the university. We started this revolution of all the way from the crest of the University of South Africa. It's very Afrocentric. And to do that, I was inspired by the works of Credo Mutwa. When we went into Credo Mutwa's book, Indaba My Children, and I looked into the history there, and we found the symbolism that speaks to Africa. We expressed it into the crest. Then we took the graduation, the gowns for the chancellor, for the council, and everybody, and brought that and worked with somebody like in Kensani. You know, Kensani at that time was very, very strong in terms of one of the pioneers, at least, when it comes to celebrating African excellence that reflects who we are, rather. And we infuse that into how UNISA looks like. Now, I think the last challenge, the last hurdle, or one of the last two hurdles, is to find it in the syllabus. The syllabus is not quite there yet. So we've got ways to go in terms of making sure that the syllabus, the syllabi of the universities reflect African knowledge systems.
Yeah, and on that, I'm so curious about what are some of the new qualifications or courses that have started to enter the higher education space that are more geared towards African culture and African tradition?
Well, to me, when you start having people like Professor Toyin Falola from the University of Texas, you have people like Wole Soyinka, you have many academics like that. When they begin to be part of the institutions that are where we are and who we are, you're then going to begin to see that. And you're seeing it, I think, first and foremost, you are beginning to see it in the literature space. Because in the literature space, that's the one place that I think has pioneered in the area of looking at creativity, writing from an Afrocentric perspective, because they've gone beyond. You know, I saw a friend of mine just graduated, another friend of mine graduated from University of Pretoria, and her whole degree, her whole PhD was around African knowledge systems, was around Masangoma and all those type of things that typically will look down on. We says, man, kibo this thing. But now she's elevated some of those practices which we are and brought them into higher education. I think we are seeing the revolution at the PhD level, and perhaps at a master's level, and ultimately we're going to begin to see it in an everyday courses.
And then when we look at the role that universities and tertiary spaces should be playing in preserving African culture, African identity, African traditions, what would you say that role is? And is it something that you feel is evolving to become more responsible on the tertiary spaces?
Of course, universities are not neutral spaces. They are cultural environment. And the question is whether that environment is designed consciously or by default into unconscious and by default unconsciously. And I think to me it has to be consciously. Universities have to be very, very conscious in how they do this because they cannot outsource this because what our parents do, our parents spend the first 18 years shaping who we are, shaping where we come from, shaping how we do things. And then when we arrive at campus, with a very strong sense of identity. Now the question is, when I arrive at the university, is the university open environment that welcomes me as a Motswana, as a Sangoma, or as somebody who comes from a deep rural area? And how well do they accept me in their space? So yes, universities do have a role because they are cultural environments, and that environment has to be designed consciously.
Your final word, Doctor, just on this subject matter, which I know is going to be an ongoing conversation, particularly in the spaces that you work in.
Well, to me, there's probably three things. First, we should all, and we must, and whether you're going to the higher education or any other space, we must carry our identity as an asset. Because to me, it is what differentiates us. If you look at the work that I've done with my new book, Rooted and Rising, reclaiming our culture and redefining our global influence, I'm driving the narrative that our culture is what's going to differentiate us. It is our asset. So we need to walk into this environment with our culture as our asset. Second, we have to build community deliberately, find cultural societies, language groups, mentors who look like where we come from. And we need to find, instead of just having student leadership, if you will, that focuses perhaps on just student well-being and the politics, perhaps we also need to find those places in the universities, in our higher education, which nurture and celebrate and accept this different thing. And I think to me the third important thing is we need to name the discomfort. The tension that you feel between who you are at home and who you are on campus. I think we need to be clear about it. We need to understand that there's nothing wrong with that tension. It is just the work of becoming. And the students who navigate it best are the ones who are going to say it loud. Not just the student, but the universities and the students and the lecturers who navigate it best are the ones who are going to win ultimately.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time today on our Belief Matters feature. Any other topics you would love to hear? 702 afternoons at 702.co.za. Send us an email there.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
I cover on my show all the things that are to do with your money, that have an impact on how much money you have in your bank account at the end of the day and at the end of your working life. But I also cover the deep-seated changes that we're seeing, how AI and cryptocurrencies are revolutionizing, completely changing, evolving our financial systems. We also cover on the show how it is that the financial world is changing, the way in which people make money is changing, and we talk about good, honest work, how people work to make money. The kind of listener that listens to my show is anyone who's interested in their own money, which means young people, older people. We have titans of industry, CEOs, chief financial officers, people who are literally just running a spaza shop. It's an entire range. Simply put, someone who makes or spends money. It is everyone.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Still shopping around for a saving here and a deal there? Choose Checkers, SA's #1 in value supermarket. And save on Clover Cheddar or Gouda cheese 800 grams, any two for 219 Rand. Nola mayonnaise 500, 750 or 780 grams for 39.99. And Omo Auto liquid detergent 2 litres or capsules 20 pack, any two for 199 Rand. Valid until 10 May, only at Checkers.
This Eyewitness News is brought to you by Momentum. Financial advisors help you have a better shot at generational wealth. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Zingisa Chirwa. The official date for this year's local government election has been set for the 4th of November. President Cyril Ramaphosa made the announcement at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg today. Although the date has been proclaimed, the Cooperative Governance Minister, Velenkosini Hlabisa, is soon expected to formally gazette it. Alpha Ramushwana has more.
The term of all municipal councils is due to come to an end on the 2nd of November this year. Legislation requires that local government elections be held within 90 days of the term's expiry, placing the election window between November and the end of January. President Cyril Ramaphosa has now confirmed the official date, saying that he typically prefers to schedule elections on a Wednesday.
2026 being the year in which the local government elections must be held, they should now be held on a Wednesday, which is in the middle of the week, on a date which I now determine as the 4th of November 2026.
Meanwhile, the IEC will have its first voter registration weekend on the 20th and 21st of June. The upcoming elections are expected to be hotly contested, with more political parties having been registered to run. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
2 people have been killed in an early morning fire that engulfed a shack in Mdeni Extension in Soweto. Firefighters responded to the scene but found the blaze had already claimed the lives of both victims, who were burnt beyond recognition. Joburg Emergency Services says the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Spokesperson Robert Mlawudzi is urging residents to use heating devices with caution in light of a drop in temperatures across the city.
Make sure that those heating devices are not left unattended so that we can be able to prevent fire incidents which might occur at home. For any life-threatening emergencies, our residents are encouraged to call our Emergency Management Services Command and Control Center on 011-375-5911.
A KwaZulu-Natal doctor accused of sexually harassing his patients will spend this long weekend behind bars following the adjournment of his case. Sayem Prabhakaran Nair made his first court appearance in the Madadeni Magistrate Court in Newcastle this afternoon. He faces 4 counts of sexual assault charges linked to the alleged abuse of women at the hospital where he works. The case has been adjourned to next week for further investigations. Ndlandla Mabaso reports.
The accused doctor made a brief appearance before the magistrate, covering his face with a face mask as he made his way in the dock. State Prosecutor Advocate Thulisile Shabalala presented the state's case.
The accused is being charged by the state with the 4 counts of sexual assault.
Shabalala requested an adjournment, saying there are outstanding investigations which they need to complete.
Some of the bail investigation has been conducted and some of the bail investigation need to be conducted. Therefore, the state is requesting that the matter be adjourned.
The prosecution has indicated that it will oppose bail in the matter. The accused, Sayan Prabhakaran, will return to court next week Friday. Ndlandla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Newcastle.
And the body of former President Edgar Lungu will be moved to another mortuary following an order handed down in the Pretoria High Court today. The Zambian government approached the High Court to challenge an order that was handed down last week, ordering that the former statesman's body be taken to a mortuary of the family's choice. This was after the Zambian government collected the remains to begin repatriation, claiming that the family's appeal in the Supreme Court had lapsed. In August, the Pretoria High Court ordered that former president's remains be repatriated to Zambia, but his family is challenging this in the appeals court. Khomotso Modise has more.
This morning, the Pretoria High Court was set to hear an application by the Zambian government which wanted the court to reconsider an order it handed down last week. The order was given during an urgent matter at 10 p.m. where the family of Edgar Lungu wanted his remains returned to their mortuary of choice after the government had taken them and planned to begin the repatriation process. But today, after meeting for hours, the government and the family reached an agreement. The family's lawyer, Tembeka Ngcukaitobi, read the proposed order to the court.
The body of the late President Edgar Lungu shall forthwith be placed in the care of AVBOP, Pretoria East, the cost of which shall be borne by the government of Zambia. The order in paragraph 2 above shall operate pending the finalization of the appeal under case number 1024/2025 in the Supreme Court of Appeal.
It's unclear when the appeal brought by the Lungu family will be heard in the Supreme Court. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Pretoria High Court.
In your financials, gold is trading at $4,637.25 an ounce. The rand is 16.77 to the dollar, 22.67 to the pound, and 19.63 to the euro. Brent crude oil is $116.57 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you're traveling on the M1 North, there are slight delays. This is from Glenhove Road to Woodmead Drive. And heading towards Alex, there's still some slow-moving traffic on the N3 North between Linksfield and Moerfontein Road.
Gauteng's cloudy with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures peaked at highs of between 18 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the official date for this year's local government election has been set for the 4th of November.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. It's a Thursday, which means we're going to be jumping into our consumer rights feature, Nola Knows, with Wendy Nola. Get in touch. We're going to be chatting about South Africans who are affected by flight cancellations because of what's happening in the Middle East. We'll also open up the lines to all of your consumer rights issues. 011-883-0702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
Nola Knows.
Nola Knows time on this 30th of April with Wendy Nola, 011-883-0702, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Happy Thursday, Wendy. How are you? Wendy Nola, let's try again. Hi, Wendy. Okay, we seem to be having a technical issue that we need to tend to. In the interim, send us some of your situations that you found yourself in with regards to cancelling trips because of what's happening in the Middle East. We know that some of the major airlines that do international trips go via Dubai, go via Qatar, and this is one of the issues we're going to talk about around what you are able to get back, if anything. And I know we touched on a story last week where it was around the person choosing to cancel before the thing happened and then they lost out. Let's see if we've got Wendy Nola back. 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line 072-7021-702. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we pick up in our consumerized feature, Nola Knows.
702 Drive with John Perlman.
My show is about keeping our listeners company in the last part of the day in the most interesting and entertaining way that we possibly can. So the crucial thing for us is we've got to provide them with a mix. The news, yes, the big stories, of course, but we've got to talk about other things that make them laugh, make them think about things they've never thought about, and most important, that invite them to have a conversation with us. What I love about the 702 family and 702 land. First of all, I should just say people never stop surprising me. And the thing that is perhaps the thing I love the most is people manage to find things that make them laugh. And they don't laugh from a place of ridicule. They laugh from a place of deep humanity, because our ability to laugh has got us through so much over these many decades, and we're going to need it plenty in the decades to come.
702 Drive with John Perlman, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
In the news this week, fuel prices are rising yet again, but there is some relief for ShopRite shoppers. With ShopRite's bulk buying power, they're able to secure stock long before price increases, which means that they can keep their prices lower for much longer. So you can save on deals like Weet-Bix 900 grams for a low $52.99 and Rick Coffee 750 grams or 800 grams refill for only $129.99 each. Valid until Sunday, the 10th of May. Lower prices you can trust always.
No one gets fit overnight. It takes discipline, and your money is no different. A Nedbank 32-day notice account helps you build financial strength with up to 7.3% interest and zero maintenance fees. The higher the deposit, the higher the return. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. For more information, go to nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, we're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising, really, from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan, driven to evolve.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg.
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Nola Knows.
14 minutes after 2 o'clock, our consumer rights feature Nola Knows with Wendy Nola. 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. Happy Thursday, Wendy. How are you doing?
Hi, Relebogile. I'm great. Good to be with you again.
Thank you so much for accommodating technology that we are dealing with. Technology.
Not our friend today.
Not our friend. But let's kick off with this one. I mean, I can only imagine how much the travel industry is suffering at the moment.
Hugely. I mean, not as big as COVID was the massive one, because that was total shutdown for on and off for weeks or months altogether. But when this conflict began in the Middle East and the airlines that were, based in Doha and in Dubai, I thought, I can see trouble here. And that's what it turned out to be. And then I've seen in the weeks that have followed the emails coming through from people who didn't go on the flights that they booked, and now they're struggling to get the refunds. And I thought I've actually had 3 case studies, and I thought let me mush them together and talk about this issue, and then discuss where insurance fits in, if at all, in this scenario. So basically, what I've known for a long time is that in situations like these, let's talk about the conflict in the Middle East. If you as a passenger cancel out of fear of traveling to the region, which is understandable, the standard cancellation policies apply. In other words, you are not refunded in full because the airline could have and would have honored the ticket. They were still flying and you chose not to take the flight. Well, however justified you might feel in the making that decision, the flight was still available to you and or your family. Then you have the other situation where, and this happened a lot, the airline decides they're not going to fly. It's too unsafe. There's bombs dropping around the airport and they're not flying. In such cases, they communicate directly to you if you book direct or to your travel agent or agency that there will be a full refund paid. And in those cases, the travel agency who's already got their cut from the airline when making the booking, they don't have the right then to impose their cancellation penalties because the full refund from the ticket price that the airline gave to them should be passed on to you. So the first case, a Cape Town family who asked me not to name them, they booked 5 Emirates flights on the husband's booking.com account. I said, why don't you just book directly? They said, we did some other accommodation bookings through booking.com, and they provide booking service for airlines, and so airfares, so we did that. Anyway, so their flights were on Emirates Geneva, Dubai on the 4th of April, and Dubai, Cape Town on the 9th. On the 18th of March, Emirates issued a statement offering customers a full refund for any flights cancelled with a departure of between the 1st and the 15th of April. So their flights fitted slap bang, in that period, and they were due a full refund as a result. So the husband began a chat on the booking.com website. According to his wife, the agent did disclose to him in the first conversation that he would incur airline fees on each flight of around just over, actually, 8,000 Rand per person. Not knowing it better, the wife told me, he believed that it was standard practice and he agreed. But of course, you can imagine the scene now. Relebogile ends that chat and relays what happened to his wife, who says, absolutely not, we're entitled to a full refund because Emirates has said they're refunding in full. So he started another chat, and he was told to just wait and see what the refund would be, and he did that, but the refund was more than 40,000 Rand less than what they paid, so 8,000 and a bit per ticket times 5, 40,000. And here's why they asked me to take up their case, because Booking.com will not accept any responsibility for the shortfall, the wife told me. We have started new chats more than 10 times. There's a different response each time, not a single one with any ability to solve the problem. It's impossible to get through to an actual person on the phone. You can talk to an AI bot. There are no email addresses. Escalated queries go nowhere. I contacted Emirates, who agreed that we were not liable for airline fees at the time of cancellation, but they have referred me back to Booking.com for a resolution, of course, because the booking was made through that platform. We've heard this before, with the Booking.com cases. It's very difficult to engage if there's a problem. That comes up over and over again.
Yep.
So, and I've had mixed success when I've taken up media queries through the global media liaison service. Sometimes a response, other times not, and nothing happens. And sometimes they don't respond, but the person gets the resolution they were looking for shortly afterwards. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Anyway, I emailed that that media liaison platform email address earlier in the week. I think it was Monday, early in the week, and told them we'd be doing this show and I want to discuss this issue and please respond. And you can probably guess where I'm going. I didn't get a response. What I wanted to know was, how do they justify, that, what was it? 8,000 Rand per ticket deduction when the airline itself refunded in full. And especially, I was especially concerned because the correspondence, it was all one way, that GoToGate in partnership with Booking.com, quoting, states, if approved, the refund will be directly credited to your original payment method minus an airline fee of 8,346 Rand per person. Well, we know that it's not an airline fee. It's because the airline refunded in full. So I found that concerning, and obviously it would affect many other people. And I think, are you going to refund that 40,000 Rand? No response. So the lesson here is, I had that family booked directly with Emirates on the Emirates website. They would have been refunded in full. They wouldn't be 40,000 Rand short. So I'm not anti-travel agents at all, especially when a booking is complicated. You've got lots of legs, or you're not all with the same airline and that kind of thing. Had I not used an agent on my recent trip to New Zealand last month, I'd have been in huge trouble on my way back, because the airline left me high and dry. I missed my connection through delays caused by bad weather that had nothing to do with me. On the ticket they had booked for me, missed the international connection, and there was no representation in the airport in Auckland. If it hadn't been for my travel agent, I don't know what I would have done. They stopped talking to me on the app. They offloaded my suitcase and just left me there. So I'm really pro travel agents, but booking, just do your homework in terms of which agent you use and which platform you use as a third party, because I'm just saying that had that family booked direct, in that case, they would have got all their money back. Okay, so I then heard from 2 flight center clients, both affected by the Middle East conflicts in terms of flight cancellations. So Beulah Faswayo booked 3 flights via Flight Center end of last year for a trip leaving on the 30th of March, back on the 7th of April to Singapore via Dubai on Emirates. They had Disney cruise booked from the 2nd to the 6th of April, non-refundable. And she was planning to travel with her mom and her son to celebrate her and her son's birthday. That was a big deal. She'd been saving. And then the war in the Middle East broke out, and she said we've had to cancel the Emirates flight. It turns out Emirates actually, this is the big difference always, Emirates actually cancelled the flight, so she was due a full refund. And then they had to rebook on Singapore Airlines, cost them extra, and then let's just say it was a drama. She wrote to me because she said, I'm trying to get a refund from Flight Centre. They're telling me it's a 12 to 18 week wait before they can refund me, citing airline policies. And then she checked Emirates policies, and they said they could refund within 15 days, which is a huge difference, right? We're talking 4 or 5 months versus 2 weeks. So anyway, she was just stuck with that. You have to wait. And so she got a new credit card. She didn't want to lose the whole trip. Remember our colleague had a similar thing with it when he was scammed with the accommodation.
Yep.
You don't want to lose everything else. So she took out a new credit card, got 100,000 Rand credit, and then had to spend 80 something on other flights because she didn't want to miss a cruise. And anyway, she said, let me just find her email. She says, she sent through her refund form on the 11th of April. And then she told me on the 17th that she's got a full refund that morning. I incidentally took up her case on the 13th of April. So 3 days later, she had a refund, but we'll get to the Flight Centre's response in a bit. And then I had another case, Cabello of Centurion, booked and paid for a Dubai holiday for his family of 4 with Flight Centre from the 12th of April to the 19th. He got confirmation and everything on the 25th of Feb. And then 3 days later, poor guy, the war began. And this case was different because of his concerns, he decided to change the destination entirely to Mauritius for the same period, and he paid for that holiday as well through Flight Centre. But he said they got the refund for the accommodation, but back in to get flights, 200,000 rand of refund for the flights. And he says Flight Centre wants to impose penalties of $465 US dollars. That's about 78,000 rand altogether with on the 4. And he was saying I should get a full refund. Anyway, so I took up the cases, and basically what Flight Centre says is where the airline partner waives their fees, their cancellation fees, Flight Centre will also waive all cancellation and amendment fees, which is what I was saying in relation to that booking.com thing, and that is the right approach, right? And they said bookings made from the 1st of March onwards are subject to standard fees, and airline partner fees apply in line with the partner-specific policy. So in terms of refund processing times, due to the unprecedented nature of the situation and constantly changing airline policies, there's been a significant increase in refund volumes. They must be processed both by Flight Centre's refund team and the airline's refund team, and full processing takes place on business days. Our terms and conditions reference a processing time frame of up to 12 weeks to allow for possible delays from either party, but we do endeavor to process refunds as promptly as possible. And she says, while airlines may communicate full refunds publicly, some country-specific taxes are non-refundable. Interesting. Okay, so in Kabela's case, basically, contrary to what Kabela thought, that he was entitled to a full refund, his flight still happened, and so Emirates imposed the normal cancellation penalty. And I was given sight of the email from Emirates to Flight Centre saying, you are right in this case. As the booking has not been affected, i.e. cancelled by the airline, normal penalties will apply. So this is something to bear in mind. Certainly, when you're doing bookings now, you know, if you wherever it is, because trouble can start anywhere in the world, right? So if you cancel because you don't fancy going there, you're afraid for whatever reason, you are going to pay cancellation penalties and take a chunk out of your refund. About Beulah's case, they said that they confirmed she submitted her documentation on the 11th of April. Her refund has been processed on the 14th of April, in other words, a day after my query. Because remember, she was pushing, and they said, no, you're going to have to wait 12 to 15 weeks, she was told. The Middle East situation is unprecedented, says Flight Centre, and requires agility from agents, airlines, and suppliers. In response, Flight Centre made the decision to waive all cancellation and change fees for affected Middle East bookings. So their own fees they've waived. Beulah was very, very, very happy to have that money back, because she did, as I say, she incurred that debt to change her bookings. And she said, I hope everyone also got their refunds as speedily as she did. Well, I haven't heard from any of the others, so I can't say. So, yeah, I think it was just, we can talk about insurance, what to do, what to ask for, and what some policies cover and others don't. But I just thought it was important, and these cases underline the point, to point out that, you know, if you cancel voluntarily, unless you're cancelling due to, well, you're not going to be doing your own cancellation, but if you need to cancel through death or hospitalization of the person who made the booking or the person for whom you made the booking, then they have to refund you in full. But otherwise, if you could have flown on your chosen date, then you can't expect a full refund. That's the bottom line. And and you shouldn't have to fight with agencies who you booked through if the airline's giving a full refund. And certainly in this particular case with booking.com that we know about, it has turned into that, and it's a lot of money. In that family's case, 40,000 rand.
So let me ask you, Wendy, before we go to the news quickly. In essence, any person who makes the decision themselves to cancel their trip, even though their reasons are valid, you are still going to be vulnerable to penalties rather you have them cancel, or what do you suggest the person do if their trip is booked and they're saying the flight is going ahead anyways, but you are feeling like, I don't think this is safe?
Yeah, then you've got to, unfortunately, you've got to then suffer the loss. Not the entire loss, but it's going to be the normal cancellation penalties that apply. And most, if not all, the travel insurance policies won't fill in the gap for you either, because the exclusions around war type situations. So it is a risk. If you have to cancel and the flight is still going ahead, then you're going to have to suffer the loss of a portion of what you paid. You're not going to get a full cancellation, a full refund of what you paid.
All right, we're going to take some time away from this conversation to go to the news. But when we come back, we take your questions around that. And obviously, we open the lines up to all your consumer rights issues. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. It's just after 2:30, time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. I'm Zingisa Cherwa. Tshwane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Malanga, has admitted to signing off on an invoice worth about 400,000 rand without verifying whether work was actually done for it. Malanga is currently testifying before the Malanga Commission on allegations he facilitated the payouts of dubious invoices to an implicated security company. A KwaZulu-Natal doctor accused of sexually harassing his patients will spend this long weekend behind bars following the adjournment of his case. Sayem Prabhakaran Nair made his first court appearance in the Madadeni Magistrate Court in Newcastle this afternoon. He faces 4 counts of sexual assault charges linked to the alleged abuse of women at the hospital where he works. And the body of former President Edgar Lungu will be moved to another mortuary following an order handed in the Pretoria High Court today. The Zambian government approached the High Court to challenge an order that was handed down last week, ordering that the former statesman's body be taken back to a mortuary of the family's choice. Those are the headlines this EWN, more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
We'll start in Edenvale. Traffic remains sluggish on the Golden Highway between the N12 and the N1, and it is due to continuous roadworks in that area. If you're traveling on the M1 North, there's slow-moving traffic. This is from Glenhove Road all the way to Woodmead Drive. Otherwise, roads aren't looking so bad, so you can just look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenvale at Modderfontein and Van Riebeek, in 4 ways at Winnie Mandela and Monte Casino. And in the capital city, traffic lights are also out in Gasfontein at the N1 and Gasfontein, as well as in Monument Park at the R21 and Solomon Mahlangu Drive. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Sunday.
A day to exhale.
To breathe in the melody. Unwind with Soulful Sundays on 702.
Kenny Maestri starts your day with smooth R&B
and timeless classics from 10 a.m.
At 2 p.m., Pushaza Subia keeps the good vibes flowing
with rich, soulful sounds. And as the night sets in,
let Nothemba Madumo take you on a journey with jazz and beyond
from 5 to 7 p.m. Soulful Sundays.
Relax, unwind,
and let the music move you.
Only on 702.
702. Let's walk the talk.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's a home for dream creators, operators, and change makers. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be part of something special. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. More on primemediaplus.com.
The Audi Open House sales event is now on, and you're invited. Come test drive a wide range of Audi models and stand a chance to win an exclusive Audi Formula One experience. Plus, enjoy limited time offers across the Audi range. The Audi Open House Sales event is now on at Audi dealerships nationwide until 30 April. Book your test drive at audi.co.za. Terms and conditions apply.
The world is moving fast. Consumer mindsets and preferences are changing in real time. AI is creating new rules and timelines are shorter than ever. At Plus 94 Research, we help leaders reduce uncertainty. We deliver authentic, real-time data grounded in proven methodologies and powered by relevant, cutting-edge technology. So when decisions can't wait, you move forward with clarity, confidence, and impact. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision-making.
2026 is going to be a year of firsts when the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon happens for the first time in May.
Love it.
And continues to push to becoming Africa's first major. So, join Cape Town and the rest of the world when we rise again to run for gold and make history.
That's what makes this one so special.
By turning Africa's biggest marathon into Africa's first major. Putting Cape Town on the marathon stage with some of the greatest cities in the world, like London, Paris, Tokyo, Berlin.
Doesn't get better than this.
The Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, 24 May 2026.
Get ready.
The 2026 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, proudly supported by 702. Go to capetownmarathon.com for more.
Coming up on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman, who I suspect is a early arriver culprit. John? I think you are.
So it's a
Even Aphel's nodding. I think you are an early arriver.
so it's a mix. But you're broadly correct. I get hugely stressed at being late, and then of course you hit traffic, and you've got that, those slow cars, they go slow, but just at the traffic light they speed up so they can get through.
Yes.
But you can't. So there's all that. I do try to be early, and I plan for it in this way. I often take a book, and I always have a book or a few really good podcasts on my phone. So if I've got 30 minutes to wait outside a building or in the parking lot or whatever, I don't feel like I'm wasting time. I don't mind that time. But I grew up with some people, well, let me just say it, my mom in particular was always really late.
And it probably stressed you out.
No, not initially. And then I was also really late. And I just developed that habit. And then a couple of people let me know very sharply, well, this is not going to fly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you invite me to your home for lunch at 1 and I arrive at 9 a.m. and I say I'm at the gate, what are you saying to me?
I'll say, sorry, you're breaking up. Or I might say, please be patient.
Yeah.
Your call will be answered at 1 o'clock.
Because that's very, very early.
Look, that's very early. Generally, if people are 20, 30 minutes early, I don't especially mind. What I don't like is when people are early, but then they hover and you say, can I get you a drink? And then I say, please sit down.
Yes.
But they don't. They like need to stand within like 5 meters of you where you're like chopping and, trying to
Or
get...
they're opening your pods.
No, yeah, that's true, actually. And they're going, oh, this smells good. And you say, I asked you to sit down, please.
That's why the listener who said,
Yes.
give them onions to chop.
Yes.
Keep them one side. I'll actually give them chopping of any vegetable in the house just to keep them to the side.
Even if you're not serving onions.
Yes.
You think, well, I've got a bag of onions. I'm
Start
going to use them
chopping.
sometime. Let's go.
And if the onions are done, go do some ironing. Like, what are
yes.
you doing?
No, you've never asked them to iron.
What's coming up on your show
Unless
today?
you have, of course.
Right.
Good afternoon, everyone. So there's some important stuff that we're going to be talking about. Malanga Commission is underway. Again, Tshwane Metro under the spotlight. More on that at 3:20. The 702 Walk the Talk is coming up in July. More details when we chat to our partner in this venture, Josie My Josie. Really, really hoping you guys will walk with us. We'll get to meet you. It's been fabulous every year. Couple of good years in Tshwane, but it's great to be back to Joburg. More details coming up a little bit later. Relebogile, something we spoke about as doing yesterday, but we had to move it to today. South African Health Products Regulatory Authorities issuing notes of concern about certain flu-related products. They're asking the public to let them know if they have adverse responses to some of those products. I don't want to sort of go half prepared into the details, but SAPRA, as we know them, will be with us at 4:20. The Joburg Metro Centre has been closed for ages. There are all sorts of issues related to that, but one of them is it is the repository of all the city's planning records. So it has implications for people who want to build, want to do extensions, demolitions, etc. There are real concerns about the state in which this stuff is being left. And we'll talk to Eunice Chamda, who joins us from the Joburg Crisis Alliance at 5:10. You may think, well, I don't have any plans I'm trying to get hold of. Trust me, if something's happening in your neighborhood and the people making that thing happen can't access the plans, we're all involved.
And there's a WhatsApp message here, John.
Oh.
It reads, John Perlman sounds like such a real gentleman, a real mensch.
Oh, that's very kind. I mean, I'm not always nice, but I'm trying. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
702 Drive with John Perlman coming up from 3 to 6 p.m.
702.
Nola knows.
19 minutes to 3 o'clock. We continue with our consumer rights feature, Nola Knows, with Wendy Nola. We have been having a conversation around the conflict in the Middle East and how it's impacted people's travel plans and what that might mean for you, especially around things like flights and cancellations. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Wendy, before we went to the news, I was just touching on the fact that you kind of need to be aware that if you're the one doing the cancelling, it's going to come at a cost versus the other side, where then you look at, okay, if this is the loss, but at least I feel comfortable. But in terms of just managing expectations of what you can get refunds for, the question is there an insurance you can take, Wendy, that you can cancel no matter what at any time for legitimate reasons that would guarantee you a full refund? Wendy? Okay, we seem to be having a problem again. So I'm not sure what is happening to our system. Wendy, if you are talking, we can't hear you, but we're going to get you back on the line like we did before. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
The Aubrey Masangu Show on 702.
I cover on my show issues of advisory, whether it is legal matters, whether it is financial matters. I cover day-to-day issues as far as current affairs are concerned. I cover the politics of the day and how we as South Africans are interpreting it. My listener is a curious 702 lander. They want to know what are the backstories, the stories behind what we are hearing on the airwaves. They want to understand what drives the different issues that have us talking. What I love about the 702 family and 702 Land is the fact that we have 702 Landers who are responsive, who are present, who care about their communities and who want to know how they can be a part of the process of making our areas better, but also our country better. And that for me is a great privilege. I am totally indebted to the providence out there to be talking to these people on a daily basis.
The Aubrey Masangu Show, weekdays from 8 to midnight.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is pleased to present Brigham Young University's Living Legends Cultural Tour of Southern Africa from the 30th of April to the 14th of May. Experience this internationally acclaimed ensemble featuring powerful music and dance celebrating global cultures. Catch the performances in Cape Town on the 30th of April at the CTICC and in Johannesburg on the 1st and 2nd of May at the Wits Linda Auditorium. Tickets are available now on Quicket.
It's 6 a.m. in Kenya. Victor's little sister starts high school today, but her fees need to be paid first. Back in Jersey, Victor logs onto the Absa banking app and sends her money and a little extra for lunch. It arrives instantly.
Your money makes their world go round. Send cash to 18 countries across the world with Absa Global Pay. It's safe, instant, and affordable. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
702.
Nola knows.
15 minutes to 3 o'clock. We continue with our consumer rights feature, Nola Knows with Wendy. Nola, 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. Wendy, the question I was asking before we were struggling to get you again was around the options that are available, preventative and preemptive options, maybe around insurance and just managing expectations as to the kind of refund you can get.
Okay, so what you need to ask for is look for it. It'll come at quite a high premium. Is a cancel for any reason or unspecified event cancellation insurance. I know that Pollard does it and Santam does it, where you've been offered protection for almost any cancellation reason. I would still check the terms and conditions and the exclusions to see that it does cover, if you decide an area that you plan to travel to is unsafe, it's become unsafe, then you want to see that that's also covered. Always check the exclusions with any insurance policy. So don't never assume that even a policy that's called cancel for any reason, there'll still be some exclusion. And I see in a press release that Santam put out earlier in the week, they say this type of cover offers protection for almost any cancellation reason. So there's obviously still going to be some exclusions there, but that would be the one to go for, and that also covers number one. Okay, so yeah, the normal insurance does not cover voluntary cancellations or change of mind. But you must ask for the cancel for any reason, and that's certainly going to give you the most cover for the most things. But yeah, interesting one. I had a case where an old chap, Mr. Naya, a few months ago, it was a terrible case. He was all ready for an overseas trip. He got to Tambo Airport to fly out, and someone bumped into him, a thief in the airport terminal, and stole his cash and his passport. Couldn't depart, and the cancellation cost amounted to 56,000 rand. And when he tried to cancel, they said, no, that event is not covered by your policy. And here's the interesting thing. Even if he'd taken out cancel for any reason insurance, it would have covered loss of passport and having to cancel, but not if it had to be cancelled more than 48 hours before departure, even on the cancel for any reason. And if it was specifically named in his policy, another policy, then he would still have had to cancel, I think it's up to 3 hours before departure. So he basically wasn't covered. And I said to Hollard, given the crime in this country, surely that should be amended. And they actually told me this was a few months ago that they're looking to amend that. So I'll check on that. But bottom line is you can get the best cover going. Something cancelled for any reason, and there will still be exclusions that you must really, really pay attention to and look before you pay and decide if that's still a policy you want to pay for.
Okay, and I think that is quite important to know. We've got a voice note still on this issue, 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. I wish you had this conversation with Wendy a little earlier. I did a booking with booking.com just this afternoon. Money was taken out of my account. However, the booking was not confirmed. I tried calling the number. It was an AI assistant. So I'm promised that money will be refunded into my account in the next 7 to 12 days. But after listening to your conversation with Wendy, I am actually doubtful. Yeah, it means we are literally being scammed by Booking.com broad daylight. I am trying to follow up and hopefully I'll do get my refund because money left my account, but the booking is not confirmed. Cheers, Relay.
Sure.
Well, we can't say he was scammed because we don't know that. He should be getting his refund. But what we can certainly say is that they don't make it easy for consumers to engage with them. If you've got a query or anything that's, anytime you want to talk to them about your booking or a refund or anything else, I've had this repeatedly. It is a mission. So any company that you want to deal with, actually, I was speaking about this on the Money Show last night. You do your homework before you sign a contract or make a booking or whatever, and do some desktop research about the platforms that they've created for you to talk back to them. They make it very easy for themselves to talk at us. If we want to talk back, often not so much, and that is huge. If everything goes fine, you don't ever need to engage. But when you've got a problem, you don't want to be talking to. And I'm sorry, but I don't think the AI bots are where they need to be. They're going to cover your very normal, straightforward scenarios. But if you've got something a bit left of field, it's not going to be effective and you're going to end up beyond frustrated. So, yeah, very important. With me, when I had that disaster, it was so nice to be able to just, okay, granted she was 11 hours behind and I in South Africa sleeping on a Saturday evening, Sunday morning, and I had to wait for it to wake up, but that wasn't her fault. She woke up to my WhatsApp on a Sunday morning and she helped me. I was stranded in New Zealand. Now, I don't know what I would have done without her. So yeah, if you book through an agency, make sure that they have the advantages that you've got someone to help you when things go wrong. But if they make it difficult for you to actually get that help, to contact them, then it's not really a real protection, is it?
No, it becomes a challenge because that's the other thing is having the protection, but it being difficult to do something about it. Let's go to the lines. We have Peter from Ilovo. Peter, go ahead.
Hi, Wendy. I've just.
Peter, can you just speak into your handset? It sounds like
okay,
the radio's on and we're on speaker as well.
Okay, hold on a second. So I must switch this off then. Hold on a second.
All right. While Peter holds, we've got another voice note on 072-702-1702.
Hi, Relebogile. I just want to ask Wendy, what happens if your visa is denied? Can you get full refund from the airline and everything that you had booked for? Thank you.
Oh, good question. So, Wendy?
That is a good question, and I'm sorry to say the answer is no. You won't be covered. It's not the airline's problem. So if you cancel, it will be treated as a normal cancellation with a big cancellation fee. And I've read through today, actually, quite a few travel insurance policies, and they exclude that. They exclude you not being granted a visa.
So is that
that's
why?
a big risk.
Is that why some of the reasons that people do their booking via a travel agency quote so that if they don't get their visa, they don't lose out?
Well, no, even there, you'll find, because I've taken up some of these cases, that the agencies take no responsibility if, in their small print, if you think that they gave you the wrong visa advice. We're not visa specialists. We're not liable. And so you're stuck bearing that cost as well. I mean, the thing to do with visas is to seek information from the country that you're going to and to make 100%, because that information will be up to date. Find the correct website and don't rely on anything that an agent or whatever tells you. They are visa specialists. That's a different story because that's their specialization. And I would say if they gave you the wrong advice, then you would have recourse. But the general travel agent, you will see in the terms and conditions we don't take any responsibility for advice that proved to be incorrect.
All right, let's try Peter again. Peter, go ahead.
Yes. Hi. I just want to know if the people that run the building have charged me a receipting fee of 554.32 cents for a late payment, which I paid 3 days later. It was during December, I think it was, and things were going on, and I just completely omitted to do that. I wrote back. I wrote to the lady who runs the accounts department, and she mentions now, well, they probably will reverse it. Just write to me, and of course, I've had no reply from that. Are they entitled to charge me a receipting fee?
They are. You're obviously talking about a body corporate now that's running some kind of sectional title building, Peter.
That's right. That's correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know from personal experience that is usually written into the rules of the body corporate, which you sign for and are deemed to then be bound by them.
Yeah.
They pretty much are at liberty to. I mean, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
I have had reason to also pay late, and the first time it wasn't at high, but it was a few hundred rand, and they gave me a luck the first time, and the second time is normally around December. I've never done it a third time. The second time I paid it in full. So that's something to check for going in before you sign, but unfortunately it seems very steep for whatever inconvenience you caused them. But I think part of it is that these buildings really want to run a tight ship, and they don't want to give. They want to have a real deterrent for paying late, because if it's done by multiple people, you can imagine that causes havoc with their balance sheet. So that's the reason it's there. And unfortunately, I can't tell you that you've got grounds to. Would it be nice if they let you off the first time? But it's nothing. There's nothing. I doubt there's anything in their contract, in the rules that forces them to do so. Sorry, Peter.
Sure. So sorry, Peter, but hey, this is how we all learn. The last WhatsApp message, in March 2020, I was supposed to travel to the USA for work, but the day I was supposed to travel, the COVID-19 lockdown came into effect and all traveling was halted. Can I still get a refund? This is from Chintan in Benoni. Something from 2020. Can they still get a refund for that?
I think the prescription thing will apply now. It's been longer than 3 years, and he or she doesn't say why they've waited 5 years to 6 years to try for that. But I wouldn't rate their chances. Unfortunately, it would have had to have been done certainly within 3 years.
Okay, so basically, if you missed that window, you can't come back now and want to try and get a refund?
No, and 3 years is a pretty big refund, a big window. Also, on the flip side of that is if you owe a company money and there's been no action for 3 years, you haven't acknowledged the debt, you haven't made any payments, you haven't been summoned for it, then you can say, hey, I'm not paying you, it's prescribed. So it goes both ways.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, and that's something that a person, I guess, must keep in mind. So in conclusion, Wendy, as we close this conversation, when people are booking their trips, what are the things they need to keep in mind? Insurance is worth it. What else?
And also with insurance, so some of them, given that they cover cancellations and everything, you need to take it out within 2 or 3 days of actually buying your ticket, right? So that's something to remember. Don't wait, I'm going to take this out, the week before I travel or whatever. You do it sooner rather than later. And know that and read all the exclusions. Don't assume you're covered for anything, whatever the product's called. There will always be an exclusion. And also, in my case, I wanted to be covered if I cancelled my trip because my mum fell ill. I have an almost 86-year-old mum, and I wanted, there's a big chance that I have to come back. Not all of the policies have that. In fact, most don't. So I found one that covered that. So whatever your risk, whatever you think will cause problems for you in your travel plans, find a policy, if you can, that covers it. Don't assume they're all the same, because they're not. And if you cancel your ticket and the booking, the flight still flew on that day, you can't expect a full refund.
Sure. All right, Wendy Nola, thank you so much for empowering us and also teaching us when it comes to our consumer rights. We'll be back together next week, and that brings us to the end of today's edition of the show. John Perlman is up next, hosting 702 Drive. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Tshwane official admits to 400,000 rand unverified payout, and Ramaphosa confirms local government election date. Good afternoon, I'm Zingisa Chirwa. Tshwane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Tsukudu Malachi, has admitted to signing off on an invoice worth about 400,000 rand without verifying whether work was actually done for it. Malachi is currently testifying before the Malanga Commission on allegations he facilitated the payouts of dubious invoices to an implicated security company. The Commission has heard testimony over how the company was awarded a lot of contractual work to a point where the Tshwane municipality exceeded its security budget. Thabiso Goba reports.
In June 2024, Gubis 85 Solutions filed an invoice for 397,000 rand with the city of Tshwane for security work it had allegedly rendered. However, the municipality did not have a corresponding purchase order for this invoice. Despite that, in February 2025, Director for Tshwane's Assets Protection Security Unit, Tsukudu Malachi, signed and approved the invoice.
There was no, wrongdoing on my part in signing this invoice.
But did you know for certain that those services had been rendered? When you were signing and approving this invoice, did you know that Gubis had rendered those services? Director Malachi, did you know or did you not know?
Let me say I did not know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Head of the Assets Protection Security Unit, Rivo Spies, has previously testified at the Malanga Commission, saying that Malachi ignored an instruction from him to stop all ad hoc security work. The instruction came after Spies saw a large invoice bill from Gubis 85 Solutions. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
For live updates on the Commission, visit ewn.co.za or watch live proceedings on our YouTube channel. The official date for this year's local government election has been set for the 4th of November. President Cyril Ramaphosa made the announcement at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg today. Although the date has been proclaimed, the Cooperative Governance Minister, Velunkosi Nihlabisa, is soon expected to formally gazette it. Alpha Ramushwana has more.
The term of all municipal councils is due to come to an end on the 2nd of November this year. Legislation requires that local government elections be held within 90 days of the term's expiry, placing the election window between November and the end of January. President Cyril Ramaphosa has now confirmed the official date, saying that he typically prefers to schedule elections on a Wednesday.
2026 being the year in which the local government elections must be held, they should now be held on a Wednesday, which is in the middle of the week, on a date which I now determine as the 4th of November 2026.
Meanwhile, the IEC will have its first voter registration weekend on the 20th and 21st of June. The upcoming elections are expected to be hotly contested, with more political parties having been registered to run. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
A KwaZulu-Natal doctor accused of sexually harassing his patients will spend this long weekend behind bars following the adjournment of his case. Sayem Prabhakaran Nair made his first court appearance in the Madadeni Magistrate Court in Newcastle this afternoon. He faces 4 counts of sexual assault charges linked to the alleged abuse of women at the hospital where he works. The case has been adjourned to next week for further investigations. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The accused doctor made a brief appearance before the magistrate, covering his face with a face mask